Down. What's up, everybody? You are tuned into the Elks Call, your home for Edmonton Elks fan talk. My name is Scout, aka the rep from Section X.
And I'm Catherine, aka Even Elks.
Coming to you live on Shotgun Sports Network with the replay airing exclusively on Edmonton Sports Talk. Kathy, what about those new jerseys?
Yeah, we just came back from the jersey reveal. And needless to say, we spent some money that we probably didn't want to spend, but we had to spend it after looking at those.
Oh, we wanted to spend the money. We wanted to spend the money, all right. You got a new hat. Double E logos everywhere. The new jerseys are a massive throwback. Some of us like them. Some of us don't. John here is already in the herd chat, voicing some opinion. I'd like to hold on to that opinion because I believe we're going to do maybe a little green and gold on that, or gold.
Yeah. We'll revisit.
We'll revisit. We're going to mention it a couple of times here. So very exciting day, exciting night, exciting times in the city of Edmonton. Our guest Trent Brown is on the way. Unfortunately, having some technical difficulties. But we may see him here in a bit. We can't thank you enough for riding with us. Hit the like, subscribe, and favorite buttons to show some love. Your support means everything to us here at the Elks Herd, the Elks Call, and Shotgun Sports Network. We got a big show. We got a lot of double E talk here today. We're going to open up with the more you didn't know, potentially, if Trent shows up here in time. Then we're going to give you some Shotgun Sports updates, followed by Kathy's Herd Report, where we bring you the latest news and transactions in Double E land. After that, we'll give you an Edmonton sports update, and then we're going to give you green or gold, one of our new favorites here on the show. That's our spin on hot or not. It's been fun so far. Finally, we're going to open up the fan forum where we talk about hot topics surrounding the Edmonton Elks and the CFL world as a whole. We're interactive, which means our viewers can comment and ask questions in the herd chat. You can contribute to the show if you are watching on YouTube or on Facebook. Let's. I think we're going to expedite things for the time being. Mm-hmm. So let's start with the herd report.
Yeah, well, we can get that going, and hopefully Trent is able to join us. But in the meantime, let's just talk about the last game. Let's start with the first quarter. Let's just get right into it.
That was a win.
Yes, but I mean, it started a little slow. They had an okay opening run. They had number 0, Kobe Williams, stopping BC's return at a decent place, but had to really work to make sure that Nathan Rourke didn't continue to move the ball down the field.
It's not an easy task.
No, and BC definitely found the holes and allowed them to get close enough for White to get the first 4 points on the board with BC's first field goal.
Sean White, we miss him.
Yeah. Now, is this where we saw the injury? I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pardon me. I want to say it was that first defensive stand, either the first or the second, right? It was over in the end. So around what? Was it 5 minutes in, maybe?
Yeah, it was like right away. I was pretty sure that it was during the first drive.
Nick Anderson
with the tackle. It was Ouellette. What's his first name? Sorry. Ouellette.
No, it was David Foucault.
Oh, Foucault.
So David Foucault,
it was a French last name.
Former Edmonton Elk, though.
Yes.
You never want to see that happen. You never want to see somebody get injured like that.
Especially during preseason, especially so early during the game, right? So that was very unfortunate, but at the same time, Nick Anderson, he did have his contract extended for the 2026 season. So
huge.
Good for him. He certainly knows how to tackle, if maybe a little too intensely.
10 tackles in that first half of that game.
It's crazy.
10 tackles. That is a crazy amount of tackles.
Yeah.
I think he's on track for Defensive Player of the Year, in my opinion.
I'm pretty sure. I could see it. I definitely could see that. But on the return drive, we saw that little wobble by Cal
Mhm.
Smith.
Mhm.
We saw it, but he was able to hold on to the ball. Justin Rankin making the moves right after. Trey Ford threw a very solid completion to Stephen Dunbar Jr. into the red zone. And I think at this point, we were all very excited to see some Elks football and some really good Elks football.
Yeah.
And Trey followed that with another completion to the 6-yard line to Zach Mathis. So 1st and 6 at that point, and a quick handoff to Justin Rankin, and we got our first touchdown of the game. We did miss the convert.
The point after, yeah.
We did miss the point. So, I mean, we're going to talk about transactions after, but it is clear that the position of kicker is still.
Well, it's iffy, right? Vincent Blanchard has the job right now, right? That's exactly it. Has the job right now. Do the Elks maybe look to improve over the season? I think it's going to be an area that they will constantly be looking at. It's going to be under scrutiny, and if they have an opportunity to maybe trade for a kicker, maybe we see that, right?
Yeah.
Can't call it right now, but it is something that Ed Hervey had alluded to.
Yes.
They may be scrutinizing that position heavily this year for reasons such as that.
I mean, so close. How do you miss a 1-point convert?
But
right?
They do get missed.
Of course, and it was windy. So let's just put that out there. The conditions probably were not as favorable, but of course, you cannot.
Our guy.
Come on. What?
Trent Brown.
Oh my goodness. He is here.
Sorry to cut you off there, Catherine. My bad.
Did.
I know, that was rude. All right.
Well, yes, just to conclude, we're going to conclude the first quarter just to make sure. The only thing that I got to say to conclude that before we bring in Trent Brown is Rourke. He looked good. Good enough to move that ball down the field for another field goal, and that's what kicked off the second quarter. So before we'll revisit, we'll come back to the herd report. We definitely don't want to make Trent Brown wait any longer. So you want to do the introductions?
All righty. So we're going to move right into the More You Didn't Know, where we interview our guests and ask them about a variety of topics, including their life. We like to get a little bit personal on that one. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show Grey Cup champion and doubly alum, former safety and number 28 of the Edmonton Elks. It is Trent Brown. Trent, you made it.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not the most tech savvy, but I came down to my basement. I fired up a laptop and I got the link going. I was trying to do it from my phone. I just put my girls to bed. I got 3 little girls, but I finally figured it out, and here I am. So it's awesome to be with you guys and talking sports on Thursday night, I guess. Yeah.
And a lot of sports there is, man. Once again, can't thank you enough for joining us. How was the atmosphere at Rogers Place last night?
Do you want to know what? It was off the hook. It was absolutely unreal. There's something special about that place. Lots of guys have talked about it. Kaner is a buddy of mine, and I know that he's talked a lot about it. It's a special arena. I've traveled a lot, traveled around a bit, and football, basketball, hockey, baseball. I've been to different sporting events, and there's something electric about that place. There's something special. There's something special about this team, and it was unbelievable last night. The thing I like most about it is the world. It seems to be polarized right now, and sports. It brings the city together. It galvanizes the city. No matter who you are, what you believe, where you're from, everybody's cheering in this. Pull it on the rope in the same direction. And I just love it. Hugging, high-fiving, people you don't know, people screaming, right? I got to bring earplugs on Friday night because it's going to be nuts.
Yes. I saw, I was at home, so I didn't get to go, but I definitely saw the footage of everybody outside, and it looked like thousands of people. It looked like a sea of people, and just orange and blue, everybody jumping around, yelling. It did look
Crazy.
Electric.
crazy. And it's something that my wife and I we're a corporate sponsor of the hockey team, and so we sort of make it our date night at least for the playoff run. And I was saying to her, like, it's a long playoff run in hockey, right? It's 7-game series and stuff, and even watching it takes a lot out of you. You got to stay hydrated, you got to stretch, like all of this stuff. Like, imagine playing, like, it's a long run, and like, I'm not a drinker anymore, but man, oh man, like watching a game every second night, at least in the finals this year, unlike last year, there's a 2-day break between a few of the games, right? So a person can catch up on their sleep, get rested, because that game last night started early, 6 o'clock. But let's say you go to the pregame festivities, the concert, right? So you're there at 4, you're up till 11, 12. Like that's a big night.
You don't go to sleep immediately after either, right? There's a little bit of adrenaline there. You're like, it's a huge win, especially in the Stanley Cup Finals. You can't just go to sleep after the game.
100%. And do you want to know what? You get so charged up, you're so electric, and then I understand, and I always get out of there quick, and we park right under Rogers, so it's pretty easy for us. But some people, like, it takes them an hour or two to get home, right? You're stuck in traffic, you're trying to get home, but also the buzz, you're electric. A lot of people go home and party too. So, and I tell you what, this is going to be a party this year. If they bring the cup home, and I'm calling, I really hope it's 5 or 7 games, because I want them to win it here, but the Panthers, it is going to be a war. It's that's a team that'll do anything to win, and it's not going to be easy.
Pedigree, right? They have the pedigree. This is their 3rd time there in 3 years. It's tough to deny pedigree. So yes. They're not gonna roll over. They're not just gonna take it. And I will say the Oilers team does look way better than they did last year somehow, some way. A lot different. Things are a lot more different than the Cinderella run.
There's a different feeling this year. There's a lot of depth on that team. And, a lot of great teams, they need to get there and lose once before they really understand what it takes and how to win the game. And the same can be said in almost any sport. They say the same thing in football, getting to a Grey Cup and losing one helps you the next year. Super Bowl, the same thing. Those big games, there's a lot of distractions. Once you get there, once, twice, you know how to handle them that much better, eh? So,
and you would know, Trent. So, yeah, man, super thankful once again to have you here today. For our Elks fans and CFL fans in the herd chat, be sure to drop some questions. We already see some in there. So,
Chris Ager over here, just because we kept you waiting a little bit there in the room. He's the hardest hitting number 28 you'll ever meet. Better not keep him waiting.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so I guess we'll get into the heavy questions now. But we like to get to know you a little bit here. So you're Edmonton born and bred, an amazing career man. You've given back to the community, and I would say like on a daily basis. So, what started you? What was your first big sports memory that started the journey that you're on today?
Oh boy, there's so many. I was very fortunate to be surrounded by good people, good coaches, good people growing up. And like when you say that I give back to the community, do you want to know what this community has given me and my family so much? Learning about my family history was a big part, because when I was younger, I sort of didn't realize the connection to the sports community that because I was raised by my mom, that my grandfather, my dad, my uncles on my mom's side had. But I'm a 3rd generation football player here. My uncle played for the Eskimos in the 70s, Molstead, and then Horty, my great uncle, played. My grandfather won a gold medal in the Commonwealth Games for Canada, the first ever Commonwealth Games. He also played for the Edmonton Superiors, which was a hockey team. My dad won a Memorial Cup with the Oil Kings. My grandfather won the Brier. So like a long history of sports. I was a Southside guy. You know, I played football at Scona and was very fortunate to have a very good coach, Johnny Belmont, who's I'm hoping getting inducted into the Alberta Sports Hall of Fame here soon. He's been around football his whole life, but was more than that, more than a coach. He was a mentor to a lot of young men, and just about life. And for young men, youth, there's not enough good sort of strong male leadership. And so he was a mentor for me, and he helped me. But when I look back, you know, like I was just a local kid and I didn't know what I could do or where sports would lead. And when I was playing at U of A, I guess that would have been the catalyst there. I had a lot of success. I had a coach there that gave me a chance to play my rookie year. I ended up being rookie of the year, and then they played me on offense and got to play both ways a little bit, and just had some success and got cut from a couple CFL teams, wound up here, and never looked back, right? I started out playing special teams here, and there was a guy, Dan Murphy, a very high draft pick that they kept putting in front of me, and we went back and forth a little bit. But once they gave me the job as a starter, I think 1995, I was, you know, leading the league in interceptions and had a couple all-star years, 96 and 97, and started working out hard and started knocking some guys out, and that was sort of my claim to fame. Like I was really lucky because I won a Grey Cup really early in my career, 1993. Had a great defense, surrounded by great players here. Like just such an opportunity here to play with great teams, great players, and just the tradition of winning that was ingrained in us, like from day one, man. The all of the traditions that we had, and then the memories, the lifelong friends that I made playing football. You know, I'm still pretty tight with Jed Roberts and lots of other guys. I just got a business referral the other day. A woman came in and she said that she was seriously hurt in a motor vehicle accident and she didn't know what to do. And I said, well, how did you hear about us? And she said, Kavis Reed said I had to call you.
That's amazing.
And I haven't even seen Kavis in many, many years, but the brotherhood, right? Like you just remember, and you know guys that you can trust. And as soon as she said that, like I just said to her, we are going to take care of you. And and I think that Kavis knew that I would when he told her that. And if Kavis was doing anything, I mean, I could send anybody to him too. Like, I don't know if you know Kavis. Have you ever had him on your show?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Okay. Well, when you reach out to Kavis, tell him Trent Brown said that he'll 100% do your show, because he will. That's the kind of guy he is, man. He's just the nicest man you'll ever meet, and he made his home here, and he's a beautiful person. And tell him I said that.
Like, I guess to add on to that, like what was it like going into battle with those guys in the 90s? Like that type of brotherhood, right?
Do you want to know what we stuck together. We knew who we were. We knew, and I'll give you a quick example of this. 1996, we go to the Grey Cup against Flutie, playing for Toronto in Hamilton, and the forecast wasn't for a blizzard that day. And I was rooming with Derek McCready, and we were laying in bed visualizing the night before. And when we woke up in the morning and we saw the snow flying and the blizzard, like we knew it was our day. Like we knew when the times get tough, right? That's who we were, that when the elements were tough. And now that leads me into the name change and stuff. We wore that name as a badge of honor, bro. We wore it as a sign of strength and resilience. And it was like when the times got cold we just thought, this is Eskimo weather. This is us. And no one wore long sleeves. You know, Flutie was scared. It was right. And they had a good team, but we knew when it got cold and like the field was covered in snow, nobody could beat us. Nobody could, right? Because we were a gang. We're coming hard. And we believed in each other, and we believed in winning. And we had a great coach, Ronnie Lancaster. And there were a few times in that game where doubt sneaks in. And like one, they had a guy named Jimmy the Jet, and he ran one back on us, ran back a long kick. And I remember Gizmo walking up and down the bench saying, they better not kick the ball off to me. And I don't know if you've seen the highlight with him running with the do-rag hanging out the back of his helmet. And they kicked it to Giz, and he took it back. And he came to the bench. He took off his helmet. And what made that amazing was not the fact that he ran it back, but the fact that before the game, when everybody was sitting in there, silent, getting ready for the game, Giz walked around and told every guy to a man that he was going to take one back that day. And he said, when I do it, look at yourself and ask yourself what you're going to do. And when he did it, it's like everybody looked at each other and we're like, fuck, he called it. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Right? And like when a guy does that and he calls it, it's just, and I'll tell you something about Giz. Giz in every big game, like I think about the 80, what was it? Oh boy, was it the Grey Cup they won in Vancouver against Toronto? He ran back the field goal there too and won him the game. Like in big games, that guy showed up to play, but the thing that made him great was he told everybody what he was going to do before he did it. And
he
that
points, he shoots. He points, he shoots. Like he calls stuff, right? Like that's
bro. That galvanizes the team and makes you believe. You know, it's like what Messier did when he played for the Rangers, and he said, and he guaranteed the win. Yeah. You know, guys are like, whoa, what the hell is he doing? But you better fall in to place when Messier says that you got to, right?
Well, exactly. And having that faith, right? Having that faith. 1987, by the way, is that Grey Cup, as per Chris.
87.
But to be able to look to your left and look to your right and have faith in the guys that are playing alongside you and know that guys are going to execute their roles.
Yes. Oh, bro, it's like when you go into the huddle, and I got a picture up on my wall somewhere here with that, and you look around, and on that picture, like on our defense, Willie Pless, Leroy Blue, Cavis Reed, like Benny Goods, Melvin Hunter, like you're talking about 8 out of 11, 12 guys are all Canadians. Like, and so like it's a race to see who can make the next play, right? Like you are battling Malcolm Frank, like you go down the list, and yeah, like it was just an honor and a privilege to play with those guys and on those great teams. And when you're surrounded by great players that have a history and tradition on a team that wins, we knew that we were going to win, and we knew that when the games got tight, when the games were on the line, that we knew how to win. And that's something that, you know, over the last 5 years, this team sort of lost for a while, but it's coming back.
Yeah,
but we got to get into that.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, we know that after your football career, you became a lawyer, joined your father's firm, James H. Brown, specializing in injury law. Since then, James H. Brown and Associates has become one of the biggest advertisers of sports sponsors in all of Edmonton. And we know we have been privy to comments, you know, suggesting that the EE were not necessarily putting any significant value into a lot of sponsor relationships, maybe team relationships, just that whole bone aspect that we know and we have seen in the past.
The Sports 1440 interview.
Of course. And so now that Larry Thompson is in the picture, do you think that this will change?
I 100% think it'll change. It's not only Larry Thompson, it's, you know, Chris, very early on when they announced that he had the job, he picked up the phone. He asked me to make some calls, and he picked up the phone and called a lot of guys and said, I can't do it without you. And at that point, I was ready to pull, because I'll tell you what, I was only around because I thought the team wouldn't make it. And I really believe in sports here in Edmonton, and it was a part of my family history, and it's a part of my history, and sports has given me so much that I wanted to support the team through those tough times, because nobody else really did. Everybody was pulling out. The fans didn't want to game. And I kept that hope, and I'm an optimist, and I wanted football to survive in Edmonton so it could give to people what it gave to me, man, because I grew up watching that team, and then I got a chance to play for it and live a dream. So when he came, I was going to pull out, and Chris came to me and he said, Brownie, I need you for 2 years. And he made some calls, and we met with other business people, and I asked friends and other businessmen to help me to come on a journey. Like, let's do something meaningful and see if we can save football. And I don't know, to be honest, if there's a future for the CFL and what that looks like, but I'm not going to let it go down without fighting and doing my part, right? Because that's who I am. That's what I learned, like out on the field. Like, we don't give up. We don't walk away. And I believe that Chris and the people there right now are going to turn this whole thing around. And Larry Thompson and Deb, they have some money, but more importantly, they believe in this team. And I can tell you what, from my point of view, I was a fan of his as soon as he drove that truck right through the Calgary bench.
Yes. That was classic.
Did it?
Man, we ain't never seen anybody do that. Driving
They made a
Come on, man.
Love it.
Come on, man.
How do you win the fans over in one swift move? Will you drive the fire truck into the Calgary Stampeders bench? But you know, it's not only
Let's go.
those kind of moves, right? Bringing back the sign that's in the locker room, and then of course, who comes with the sign? Or sorry, the sign went with who? It's Dwayne Mandrusiak. You know, what are your thoughts on the return of Dwayne Mandrusiak?
Yeah. So look, that move made a lot of people mad, and the biggest group that it made mad were the people that bleed green and gold, but throughout the league that know him and know what he brought. And when I played on that team, he was the keeper of the stories, the keeper of the traditions. And so when I used to go to him at the start of every game, he put air in my helmet. And that's where we learned about guys like Kepley and Schaaf and all of the traditions that were there were carried along by that guy that's got, what has he got, a dozen Grey Cup rings? Like when he writes his book, like there's stories that nobody would even believe were true. But what happened to him was a mistake, and it was sad, and they righted it wrong that everybody knew was wrong. And hopefully it can galvanize people, and I think it will. It'll certainly galvanize the alumni. It'll galvanize guys that played and worked with him, because he's a super guy, and we all love him, and they love him around the league, bro. And he was much more than an equipment manager. That guy did everything for us, and I still consider him a very, very true and dear friend.
It was heartbreaking, you know, talking to him, you know, let's say even a year ago about the Double E and Commonwealth, and like knowing that he hadn't been back in the building. And as we've said before, like if you get Dwayne Mandrusiak back, you get Bone back, but the team's been missing Bone for the last 4 to 5 years, right? Even the U of A Golden Bears got Bomb, Brotherhood of Mad Bears,
Yeah.
but you know, they got more of a brotherhood over at Foot Field than we do at Commonwealth Stadium. So you know, the alumni factor, you think that the alumni relations are going to get better than with having Dwayne back?
It's all getting better, bro. Like Hervey, Chris, Mark. These are guys that are players, coaches. And I'll tell you a story about Chris. Chris, so I had retired, and they asked me to sit in the press box for a game and talk about the game and do color and give out the player of the game. And we took a shit kicking. Like, we got blasted. And I didn't know who to give it to. Nobody played a good game, but I knew that, like, there's one guy that never stops fighting, right? Like a warrior. And Chris was that guy. He was always battling, right? Like, there's some guys that don't take losses hard, and there's other guys like me that are devastated every time you lose. And Chris is one of those guys, right? So I said, okay, well, I'm going to give the watch to Chris, because I know that even if they lost, he never gave up. He was battling everything. And so I go in the locker room, and we go up to Chris, and somebody, I can't remember who it was, if it was Halsey or somebody, but said, Chris, Brownie chose you to get the watch, and he is here. And I handed the watch to Chris, and Chris threw the watch. He goes, I don't want that fucking watch. Get it away from me. I'm not taking a watch for this game. And that's just the kind of guy he is. But more importantly, Chris is a guy that knows what it's all about, that lives here in the community, that knows this city. He's played on the team. He's won Grey Cups, and he knows what the traditions are about. And what he found when he came here shocked a lot of us, that the guys weren't working out together in the off season. There was no workout programs, the kind of stuff that was going on that, you just can't win in professional sports when you're doing those types of things. But there was a series of bad decisions. Dwayne was one, but the people that they hired, the people they had at the top were the wrong people. The wrong people making the decisions. I think the board made some mistakes, and I'm not going to go back into that rant. But the ship has been righted. It's not going to happen overnight. It might take a few years, but this team is going to start winning again, and we're going to be having fun in Commonwealth Stadium, because, like I always say, there's some coaches that say it's not about winning, it's about having fun. And I always say there ain't no fun like winning.
Exactly.
Winning and having fun.
And you know what? It goes hand in hand as well, because if one thing that we know for sure is that as soon as the team starts winning, the more fans will be coming to the games. Right. And so let's turn into that. Let's turn into that topic. And we do have a few questions here in the fan forum over here in the chat. But for now, in the her chat, I'm not the one that says that. But we do have a couple of comments here. Steve Benassi saying, I've been going to games since 1969, and a fan is truly measured in the bad times. So that's one of the things that we have seen.
Yeah.
But the question is, we do have over here, what should the team do to get fans back in the stands and the city kind of behind the team again? What do you think? It's not going to be easy.
Okay, so I think that it needs to be fun to go to games again, and so winning is certainly a big part of that. But there has to be a good fan experience. It's got to be family friendly, and they've taken steps to do that. I have 3 young kids. My kids love to go to the games now, but it's got to be an exciting brand of football on the field. It's a combination of things, I think, and I think that the team is headed in the right direction. And listen, we are making a bid for the Grey Cup here in 2027.
Oh.
And if this team can get things turned around and we can start to win some games, and I think they've got the personnel out there to do it, the best Canadian talent. Like I've seen this Trey Ford play, and it was mind-boggling to me that they'd be losing games and they wouldn't give that kid a chance to play, because that kid can light it up with his legs, with his arm. I'm looking forward to seeing him play when he gets a chance. And the first thing that Chris did when he came in, by the way, was he called him and he said, "You're my guy. I believe in you." And And I think that he needed that, and it's going to be fun watching this kid mature and hosting the Grey Cup and playing in it. Like, that's fun. And I'm going to be involved, helping to organize some of the activities around the city, and we're going to bring it back. We're going to bring football back in a way that it's never been here in the city of Edmonton, and it's going to be fun. And that's providing they give us the Grey Cup and they don't give the cup to Calgary. But I always say, you know why everybody from Calgary drinks out of a saucer?
Why?
Why?
Because all the cups are in Edmonton, mother.
Let's go! Oh man, I want to run through a wall and place kick for the double E myself or something. I get crushed, but yeah, man, no, and
get the sign back up. Get the sign back up. 2027 Oilers Stanley. Elks
Carnival
Call.
of Champions. Carnival of Champions is what we're gunning for here. Oilers Stanley would be great, but to get a double E Grey Cup in there at the same time,
what it's going to do for the kids. Man, it's like how much fun did we have back in the 80s when the Oilers and the Eskimos were unbeatable? They just win every year. Like, come on.
The city would shut down. I think everybody would just be like, we're not working.
Let's have a parade. Yeah. Let's have a parade.
Bring it back, right? Bring it back.
Oh.
All right, we got a couple more questions for you here, Trent, and then we'll let you carry onward with the night. But
man, the NBA finals are on right now too. The NHL finals, the CFL is kicking off. We got the game 1 of the NBA finals. Like, what the? This is glorious.
Best time of the year, especially with double E football back. Like green and gold glory. All right, we do have a fan question here.
This one's a really good one from John. Send alumni. Do you think CFL players in the middle of the season should go to the Olympics for flag football?
In the middle of the season?
Is it?
Yes. Yeah.
It's right now. Hey?
Well, no, 2028. So in 2028 in LA, they're going to allow CFL players to jump over if they want for flag football. In the
Olympics?
In the Olympics in flag football. Like, I guess
question.
The commissioner did say he would allow it.
Well, so that's a tough question. So my answer would be no. Like if you're making a run, your team needs you. No one's walking away. However, like if you're a backup and you're not playing and you're a kicker, if you're on the practice roster, then you got to do what's best for you, right? But that's a tough question because when I played on a team, I would never leave that team in the middle of a season for anything.
But what about a national team? Would you leave for your country's flag football team?
Oh boy. Do you want to know what?
Hard questions here.
Yeah, no. Like I personally wouldn't, but that's a question that every athlete has to ask themselves. And with the teams that I played on, the brotherhood that we had, and the direction that we were going, the rope that we were all pulling in the same direction, no one was leaving those teams to go and play in the Olympics. Now, having said that, if somebody made a different choice, would I hold it against them? I might if it was my team, like if it was here. But geez, that's a tough question because the Olympics is the Olympics. It's a once in a lifetime, right?
Well, didn't in the NHL they had a little break so that
but there's no all-star break in the CFL, right?
I know, but I mean, if it's the Olympics, like
everybody takes 2 bye weeks. Like, what do you do there?
The season a little bit. Let some really.
You would only miss one game because the Olympics is what it's 10 days. It goes by pretty quick, so you'd miss one game because football games are only one a week. But that's a really good question and something that I've never really thought about a lot. But John is thinking, and he knows more than I do because I had no idea that flag football was even in the Olympics.
Yes, that's just something that recently got added for sure.
Coming
they
soon,
have it in LA 2028, it will be a new sport in the Olympics.
Oh,
so
I feel like it's a one. I feel like it's a 1 year only. I don't know if it'll make it to the next Summer Olympics, depending on where it's at. But
a little trial, see if it works.
All right, 2 more questions. We'll do a fun one, and then we'll close it out. I'll get this one, and you got the next one. Okay. So, Trent, got to keep it a little bit fun. You've played a great career. What was your all-time favorite game that you played?
Oh, man. All-time favorite game was probably the 1996 Grey Cup. Even though we got robbed by the refs, and I don't know if you guys know that story, but it was a bad call. Flutie ran a quarterback sneak on 3rd down, and he never had the ball. He fumbled the snap, and Glenn Rogers Jr. picked it up and was running for 6. And even if you blow it dead, he never had the ball. So it's still our ball, and we win that football game. But the refs not only blew it dead, but they gave him a 1st down, said that he had a 1st down before he dropped the ball. And there was no instant replay back then. But what a fun game, right? They wheel the nylons out at halftime on like the back of a trailer. And it was just CFL at its best. And I was sort of the quarterback of the defense back then, and Flutie and pinball, and I had a lot of tackles. We had a great defense, and we did enough to win that game. And I'll never forget when the ref made that call. Ronnie Lancaster came into the locker room, and he looked at everybody, and he said, "I don't want one word about that ref." He said, "We lost this game, and that's sports. And anybody says one word about that call, and it'll be the last day that you wear this uniform." So nobody did, and we walked out of there proud. Because we played a good game and a great team. I don't know if you remember those teams, but we had Danny McManus and Darren Flutie and Eddie Brown. Remember, he kicked that ball back up. It was just like that game had everything. The long returns, kicks, it drops the ball, Eddie Brown, and he kicks it up. And it was funny because we used to play hacky sack with a football before the games. And Ronnie used to get mad because he thought that we weren't taking the game seriously. And so he told us that he didn't want us playing before the Grey Cup. And then Eddie drops the ball and he kicks it back up into his hands. And at that point, Ronnie came running down the bench and he goes, "Brownie, you guys can play hacky sack whenever you want." It's such an exciting play. And when you watch the best plays in the history of the CFL, they'll always play that play because the field was covered. And Eddie Brown could fly. I don't know if you remember that, but we also had Jim Sandusky on that team, and then the killer defense. And I was rooming with Derek McCready, 2 sacks in that game. But yeah, just when you play on teams like that and in games like that, you just don't ever forget them. And so 1996 Grey Cup in Hamilton, even though we lost, that's the best game that I ever played. Yeah.
Chris Agar here in the herd chat. It was a fumble. I'm still burnt about it 19 years later. Stephen Massey is there with him. I've seen the highlights. I've seen the highlights, especially Grey Cup games. I definitely try to file through those. And disappointing for sure. It was a fumble. It was definitely a fumble. But
not even close. Not even close. And Glenn Rogers Jr., shout out to Glenn Rogers Jr., best closed side half to ever play in the CFL. The only guy that I ever played with that could shut down Alan Pitts, just get right up in his face and talking smack all day long. Glenn Rogers Jr., G-Rock.
I love
I'm hearing about Rod Lancaster too. Lancaster's just so freaking hard edge, man. I wish I would have grown up being a Double E fan back then in those days, because that's some smash mouth football right there. That's
I have heard the stories
and
for sure.
Trent Brown, all decade team to the 1990s as well, along with a lot of your teammates. Jed Roberts, fantastic guy. You guys were legendary back then in those days.
Come on, man. We still are.
No, Hey, legends never die. Legends never die, and here you are,
Yes.
Trent. Okay, that's the way it goes.
Not in our own minds, anyways. Not in our own minds.
But still legends. And here, we'll do the last question so that we can let you go and enjoy the rest of your night. But really, about 99% of Edmonton knows about James H. Brown. And whether you're giving back to the community with Evander Kane, the company seats at Rogers, downing some food at the Elks tailgate, you're always involved. So can you tell us a little bit more of the highlights from your work with the community and, even personally with James H. Brown Associates?
Well, yeah. No, we always have the philosophy, the more you give, the more you get. And so maybe it's selfish, but, a lot of athletes, when they get done playing, they miss the guys. They miss the community around them that they've built. And so my dad always did a lot of that, but I just wanted to do more. I wanted to be part of sports, and I wanted to be part of the community, and I love kids, and I'm very lucky because I have 3 now. Shout out to Brooklyn. Shout out to Meadow. It's her birthday today. Meadow,
happy birthday.
Brown, and a shout out to Riley Moon, my 3 little girls. But so when you're out in the community, that's what makes this the City of Champions, is that people give back, we're a part of. And I just feel like this community gave me so much. I was able to play ball here in my hometown for the university, and then pro football. And it just feels good to give back. It feels like the right thing to do. And it makes me happy. And when people ask me, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? Like, that's what I say, be happy. And, there's nothing that makes me happier than giving back to a community that's given us so much. So, short and sweet, because it makes me happy, because it's the right thing to do, and because I love this city, and I love the people in it.
The people in it love you. You're one of those people that people listen to when you talk. It's if Trent Brown speaking up, and even within the Alumni Association, Jed Roberts is pretty similar in that sense. Like when he ended up posting, like, look, this organization's rotten to the core. I'm like, oh, hot damn, we got a problem in Double E land. Like clearly these guys have gotten away from the Eskimo way. So it's special to have you on tonight. It's special to witness what you do in the city of Edmonton. And then, like you said, right, the city gives back in that way. And that's what this team's gotten away from. I see you as kind of like a cog for, even the movement right now. But really for Edmonton sports community, we're really lucky to have you, Trent, and James H. Brown as well. You guys just do fantastic stuff. And there's a reason why we see your name and your face everywhere on billboards and everything else. It's a testament to what you've built, what you're doing, and we can't thank you enough. This has been fantastic tonight.
Well, thank you guys for doing what you're doing, because you're doing a great job, and keeping football alive, and talking the talk and walking the walk. And so thank you for calling me. Thank you for having me on. And blessings, light, and love to you and everybody that's listening. Let's go, City of Champions. Bring the sign back.
Bring it back. Get the City of Champs sign back at the entrance to Edmonton. Trent Brown has said it first. Once again, thanks a ton, man. We will let you go. You have yourself a fantastic night, Trent.
Thank
you guys have a great night, too. Cheers.
Cheers,
Great
brother.
being on here.
Let's go. See you at the tailgate.
See ya.
And that was former safety of the Edmonton Esks, number 28, Trent Brown. Fantastic guy.
Yeah. Stories. I love having alumni here in our show.
It's the stories.
And how passionate they are about the team, and how much they still believe in the team, regardless of what has happened in the last little bit. They still believe so much in this team. And with those stories and the passion, I just hope that with the direction that this team is taking, that they really, really are taking some of those stories to heart. and start bringing some of that back.
Well, and you can tell that Larry Thompson is. I mean,
Yeah.
that's where that Sports 1440 interview, Trent Brown just like went off. And I encourage everybody, if you can find it, I believe it was in a July, August that Trent Brown had that interview last year. And he was extremely candid, and he was right. He's very, very justified, especially when he's putting this kind of money in as a sponsor and he's basically getting a dead fish back. It's like, okay, well, this isn't working. So, fantastic.
Yeah.
Very, very thankful. Big shout out to everybody in the herd chat. We see everybody on the stream right now. We salute you for riding with the Elks Call. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, all that good stuff while we're here. We got a lot of show to go.
Oh my goodness. I've been holding the yawn, but yes.
Kathy is a sleepy girl. All right. We got a herd report to get up to, get down to.
Well, we already looked at the first quarter. If you missed it, that was right at the beginning before we made Mr. Brown wait a little bit in the waiting room.
Shame on us.
Shame on us. But really, we talked about the first quarter. We did see
Nathan
touchdown.
Work. Also, how interesting that Nathan Work was also starting in that quarter.
Well, yeah. Well, and he was only there for the one quarter too. But
yeah.
Maybe it was the same thing that we said before with Ford. Maybe they're just warming him up, right? It's a good little warm up, just long enough for him to get a feel to be back, but not long enough to get injured.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what happened. He looked good during that first quarter, I think. I mean, he was definitely moving the ball. Maybe he wasn't throwing some of those really well. No, he did have.
He did. Oh, he did.
Passes.
Nick Anderson was looking good in that first quarter.
Nick Anderson looked great. I mean, we did have, like I say, a touchdown. We missed the 1 point, so. But maybe we'll continue to see some issues with the kicking situation going forward. So
yeah, getting back to that kick, to that point after try. Vincent Blanchard is he's on deck. So
yeah,
he's in the spot, but that position will be scrutinized by Ed Hervey and head coach.
It will have to. But yes, let's get back to it. Second quarter, I think in the second quarter is when Ford started to kind of falter a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my rant of the day, what I just don't understand is why Ford has a tendency to run so far back during his scrambles. Right. That even if he throws the ball, sometimes it could result in a loss of yards because of how far back he runs.
Well, we saw the penalty. There was a penalty in that game for intentional grounding, right? So intentional grounding did come up in that game.
Well, would it have been intentional grounding if he hadn't gone so far back? It would have been past the line of scrimmage and it would have been fine.
I mean, he also did throw it pretty sideways.
Yeah, so, I know. But at the same time, like I get having some space between the quarterback and the defense rushing at him, especially if the O-line may not necessarily be doing their job or if he feels like he can't really trust that. But seriously, like 10 plus yards on any of that, can't understand it. I just don't see it as necessary, and it drives me nuts every time that I see it.
Very fair criticism.
But anyway, right after that, convo with the sack.
Mm-hmm.
We did see that, so that was it wasn't Rourke.
It was Chase Bryce.
It was Chase Bryce at that point.
Got sacked.
It was probably the only positive of the quarter, because Ford did throw that interception deep down the field to Gittins Jr., and he had double man coverage for sure.
Wow. And you kind of saw that one. Now, you know, it could have been a bad read, could have been just good coverage by BC. Tough. You knew that he was going for Curly Gittins Jr. on that play. Unfortunately, Curly Gittins Jr. had
they also knew that they were going for
BC also knew. That was good.
BC also knew. And I mean, with a few minutes left in the quarter, they brought Fajardo in, and he started great with a deep completion to number 11, Julian Grant.
He moved
them to center field.
Right.
Lions did get the lead though with another field goal, and we ended the second quarter at 9-7. So it wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
When the third quarter came, I'm not gonna lie, I checked out. There was a lot of things that I missed.
There was a lot of things happening in our loge seats, but there wasn't a lot of things happening on the field, right?
Not much. I mean, Fajardo had some really good throws in there, but then he would stall out He would force turnovers and downs,
Yeah.
having a loss of yards. He did throw an interception in there. Maybe there were some penalties in there. I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure.
I tried to check on that, but the CFL tracker was not
Well, of
working
course.
properly. So
What are the odds that the CFL game tracker is having some issues?
So I couldn't confirm, but I'm pretty sure there were some penalties in there.
Yeah.
Just not a good quarter, though. Sean White, I mean, he gets another field goal in. That's expected. There was a massive completion from the Lions that got them really deep in our end zone. But our defense, though, they certainly did their thing.
Made some good stops in that game.
Oh, man, they held them there.
Fantastic
turnover of downs, and they were like within like a yard or two.
Oh, yeah.
They did not get anywhere. So if there's a hero in this game, I would say that it's definitely the third quarter defense, because really the end result wouldn't have been the same if BC had gotten that touchdown.
I like that, the herd hero of the game. Who is the herd? Who is the herd hero of the game? It was the D.
The defense.
The D.
And in the fourth quarter, BC did get a touchdown early in the fourth quarter, but we had a pretty decent return. And Snyder completed 4 passes on 5 attempts, with his longest being a 35-yard pass. He brought the Elks into the red zone with a completion to number 18, Calhoun. That's when we had that little scary moment over there, when Snyder threw the ball at number 85, and he let go of it for BC to pick and return.
Well, he got stripped at the line.
Yeah.
So he moved forward. There was forward progress.
Yes.
But it was a very scary strip and run back scenario.
Very
and you're like,
scary.
man, like this team is actually looking like they have a little bit of momentum. Cole Snyder is balling out. And then all of a sudden, BC strips the ball and runs back, and seemingly it was a touchdown.
Yeah, it would have been if it wasn't for that forward progression and the ball being dead.
You could hear a pin drop in Commonwealth Stadium. People were terrified in that moment. Like, and sure, it's preseason, but you still want to win.
Well, especially for something like that, right? You don't want somebody just picking a ball or, doing that and then taking it all the way back.
No.
In one play. Like, that's not nice to see. So thankfully they reviewed that and they were able to find that it wasn't our fault. It was nobody's fault. But anyways, this brought us back to the end zone, and Snyder was able to hand off the ball to number 32, McBride, to rush it in for a touchdown. And once again, BC tried, and there was another sack, and we had a very impressive performance by the defense.
Held them at the line, right?
They were able to stop them. We had Will McIlvain.
Yeah, he was in at QB4,
completing 4 passes on 6 attempts. And he was able to get the last second touchdown with a pass to Calhoun, securing the win. So that's really exciting. Cole Snyder was able to secure the QB3 position after that performance, and McIlvain was moved to the suspended list on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
As you said, in an effort to retain his rights.
Yeah.
So, but what do we do with this situation? Like, what do we do when, I know it's preseason, but what does it tell you when you go half the game or a little bit more than half the game with not much happening, and then suddenly your QB3 and your QB4 come in and make the plays and make it happen?
Well, I mean, you still can't put much stock in that, right? The reality is that we're talking about teams that are not going to be the same come Saturday, right? Saturday at 8 p.m., we are going to have our starting roster, our starting lineups actually out there against their starting lineups. There's going to be no more backups. Defensive scheme, how much do you put into that? Well, if you're the Edmonton Elks, how much do you want to give BC when you got to play them again right away anyway?
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to put much stock into, let's say, Trey Ford. And Trey Ford's development depends on him making mistakes. That's the other thing that people need to realize now and remember. Whenever you want to lambaste Trey Ford, you're going to have to give him a full year as a starter to even gauge where he's at. We're obviously going to talk about his performance on this show, but we're not going to be out here lambasting the guy when we realize the situation. We all got to grow with Trey Ford. This is what they should have done years ago.
Well, and hopefully this is a little bit of a push that he also needs to realize that even if he's QB1, he still needs to work for his position.
He
Right?
does, yes.
There's development. There's still mistakes to be had.
But it's not like Cody Fajardo is going to take his job
Oh, no,
anytime
of
soon,
course
right?
not.
That's
Of course
what
not.
we're not dealing with.
No, and it's just, I think I mentioned that it's going to be a little bit disappointing to know that, you know, perhaps we have some really good backups. You know, Snyder, he was a favorite of mine to watch play during this game. He was focused. He knew exactly what was going on. Watching him play was very exciting as well. And it's the reality is that being in a QB3 or even with McElvain being in, you know, in a suspended position, is that perhaps you're not really going to get to watch them play, right? And that's a little disappointing when you see some talent or you see some promise, you see some excitement. But the reality is that we do have a QB1, we do have a QB2, and they have to be the ones performing.
Very capable, by the way.
Of
Like,
course,
you know, our quarterbacks,
of
we
course.
have a very good quarterback room right now. You know, Double E fans rejoice. But there's going to be growing pains as well, and that is going to be part of the process. I like Chris Agar's comment here in the herd chat. Trey looked much more patient than the Trey of 2024. I'm very optimistic for this season. I think a lot of us are, Chris. You know, we don't know what we have yet. We're going to find out this season. And there's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, but we don't know where this is going to go. I do think that this should have happened faster, sooner for Trey's development. But
Wow.
he now has, and we also have Tyrell Ford. Yeah. And we also have all these other pieces. So, you know, the team's success isn't just going to rely upon Trey, but he does need to have, you know, a bit of an improved season, let's say even over last year.
Yeah, and I mean, what did we today when we went to the jersey reveal? We heard a little speech by Mark Killam.
Right.
One of the things that he definitely mentioned is the fact that now they're doing a three-phase game.
Right.
A three-phase team. It's not just QB1 and it's not just Trey Ford with everything on his shoulders, right? So we might actually get to see a lot more of either Snyder or McElvain, depending. Snyder for sure, because he's got the QB3.
But they've been running QB1 as short yardage.
Oh, totally. It's
so
it's
another
a very
thing.
different kind of, well, that's what we saw here in the preseason game, right? So we saw a lot of, we're trying to figure out whether they were going to bring Snyder in for some of those short yardage, and then suddenly it's like, oh no, it's still Ford, it's still Fajardo. So it is very different, and I think it's going to be really exciting to see what happens.
I would say so as well. But even more exciting, we have regular season football returning on Saturday night. The BC Lions smoking it up with Snoop.
Yeah.
That's going to be an exciting one.
Yeah, and I mean, we did have, let's talk a little bit about transactions. I'm not going to go through the whole list. There were a whole bunch of players that were assigned to the practice roster, but we did have some releases that were a little surprising, I think. Once again, I'm not going to take you through the entire list, but we did see someone. So which one would you say were some two?
Yeah, I mean, I'll bring up a couple. Alex Hollins, I think that one is surprising to everybody. But you know, there may be setbacks with his injury that he was healing from, recovering from last year. I don't know what the narrative is there. I do know that Ed Hervey stated that he was more interested in keeping 3 young receivers as opposed to, let's say, you know, putting all your eggs in an Alex Hollins basket when he might not be able to hit the roster for another couple weeks.
Yeah. I think we saw that a lot because we even saw that with defense back Marcus Lewis.
Yeah, that's
released.
That's a surprise when he actually got beat at the job.
Well,
right?
That's just it. Right now, you're getting some of these veterans that maybe some of the newer talent are kind of taking some of that.
Jacob Plamondon is another one that he was a bit of a cog for the team last year in a couple different ways. Unfortunately, does not make the team this year because they do not need that hybrid position that he was running at fullback. What was it? It was fullback and something else, but Jacob Plamondon, he was playing a couple roles there.
How about Demetrius Ford?
Demetrius Ford, very interesting because he was somebody that we had on our players to watch list.
Same thing with JJ Lapp.
JJ Lapp as well. JJ Lapp actually went ahead and posted on X the day before he was officially released, and it's on X and says "Go Elks, don't know ball." So in that moment, I'm like, yeah, JJ Lapp probably not signing here. He's not making the team. Sorry, probably not making the team is the better way to put that. But JJ Lapp, I thought that he had done enough, but when it came down to that second game, wasn't quite enough.
Yeah.
Ed Hervey decided to go another route. That's okay. I mean, I'm not a GM. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Obviously, there's reasons why some of these guys didn't make it. Some of these guys could also be told to, sit by the phone. We may need you at some point. There is rumors out there.
Yeah.
That maybe even Jake Taylor might be down the road, as per Dave Campbell.
Yeah.
So these scenarios happen. Guys that get released, they're not exiled from the team. JJ Lapp, he's probably not gonna pick up the phone if the Elks call. Based on
it's a little salty.
If the Elks call, yes. But I mean, these scenarios happen, right? Let's do one more surprise. No, I don't think that there's any other major surprises.
I think Demetrius Ford was a really surprising one. The same thing with Marcus Lewis. I did not expect Marcus Lewis to be released, to be honest, but
Kobe Herford was released. He may be going back to school next year and playing with the U of A Golden Bears. That may be a scenario, right? So
we're a little biased with Mr. Herford.
Like Mr. Herford. He's very good stuff.
He's our kid's a teacher assistant. So
he was, and he might be again.
He might be coming back, but anyways, we're a little biased.
Go Kobe, man. All right. So is that it for our?
Yeah, we do have some injuries. I believe there is an injury report that just went out. Really, we have Brett Boyko, questionable for the game with a hamstring injury. But we do have 3 players out completely. Noah Curtis with a knee injury, Skylar Griffith with a knee injury, and Oliver Muembi with an Achilles injury. So
yeah, and I want to say these guys are either 1 game or 6 game. I believe Noah Curtis is on the 6 game, right? Because of that knee injury that he suffered in the scrimmage at Fanday.
Yeah. But that's pretty much. I mean, it always sucks looking at the injury report, but hopefully it's not long term. But as you mentioned, what's next is the first game of the regular season for the Elks on Saturday, June 7th at BC Plays against the BC Lions, 8 p.m. start time.
What's our game prediction here for this one, Kathy?
I don't know. I don't do those. I don't do those.
I think it could be another tight, like 20-19 result, like a 21-18, 21, something like that. Yeah. I think that this is going to be a tight contest between the 2 teams. I don't think that the Elks can keep on losing in BC. I don't think BC can keep up that performance every single year. Snoop Dogg, he can keep up his performance every single hour. That guy smokes a lot.
That's what John here said in the herd chat. The BC Lions are going to be a little, smoked out on Snoop Dogg supply. So the Elks are going to win. Well, as long as the Elks are not around that locker.
We would never imply that the Edmonton Elks would be
no, it's just like secondhand, because that's what happens at Snoop Dogg.
Yes.
Concerts.
when in BC. Okay. There is some news. We do have a little bit of news here. Okay. Couple ones. New jerseys have just launched. If you have not seen the new jersey yet, go check out go check out you can check out the Elks Herd, or you can also check out the Edmonton Elks official socials. The new jersey is very cool, 1990s inspired jersey. It's got the white outline, very, very, very nice. White outline on the gold numbers, very classic look. Has a bit of modern in there too. The numbers aren't the big, bulky, bold ones. They're a little bit thinner. So yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about that, I think, in green or gold, I believe. And then new load section. Commonwealth Stadium has a
we're
load.
going to talk about this in the green and gold, right?
We are going to talk, okay.
There's opinions, but...
Oh, there is some opinions. We've even heard it today. There is some opinions on this new loads section, and we were lucky enough to try it out before anybody else got up there. So very special, very cool. Shout out to the Edmonton Elks, by the way, for making me do a bottle flip and watching me fail and being there with me as I struggled for 5 flips. 6 times the charm.
Yep, that's what it was.
Very good.
But hey, I'm glad they stuck around. That's for sure.
Yes. All right. So before we get into the green or gold, we actually have a couple things here. Missed it on the schedule, so we're going to get it in here now. Edmonton Sports update is coming right up. By the way, I heard chat. We're debugging our audio today. Let us know if you can't hear any music, because that means we got more problems than we know. Music playing.
Especially when they see you moving like that, and it turns
like,
out
there's
no music.
There's no noise. All right. Your Edmonton Oilers are 1-0 in the Stanley Cup final, defeating the Florida Panthers last night by a score of 4-3 in OT at home. They'll continue the mission tomorrow night at Rogers Place for Game 2 in the series. Puck drop is at 6 p.m. Mountain. Thank you, Chris Agar and Steve Benassi. We have no music, so we got some debugging to do. It's fun. Your Edmonton Elks defeated BC Lions by a score of 20-19 on Friday night. They start their season on Saturday night when they visit the BC Lions at BC Place, featuring Snoop Dogg. Kickoff is at 8 p.m. Mountain. The Edmonton Stingers fell to the Vancouver Bandits on Friday by a score of 104-95. They visit the Montreal Alliance on June 6th with hopes of returning to the win column. Tip-off is at 6 p.m. Mountain. The Fort Saskatchewan Football Flagathon in support of the Stollery is just over a week away. Come on down to Torres Field on June 13th to support the teams that are playing over a 24-hour period. It's a great event for a great cause. And don't forget that Love Pro Wrestling has events every month, with their next event featuring the Clandestine Wrestling Society on June 26th, and then the main event on June 27th, with tickets as low as $10 each. You don't want to miss out. We're the Elks. You're up to date. And it's hard to believe, like, we can hear the music in our headset. And so, like, I feel special doing it, but nobody else can hear it.
Yeah, that's an issue. We'll sort it out.
Big shout out to everybody for helping us on that one. Big shout out to the viewers that are tuned into the Elks Call right now. Appreciate you guys riding with us. Everybody, guys and gals, everything in between. If you could please go ahead and hit the like, subscribe, and favorite buttons. It would mean a lot to us here at the Elks. We still got a lot to talk about here. We still have to talk about these new jerseys. We still have to talk about this new low section.
Oh my goodness.
At least we made it through the BC Lions win, so that's good. And
I tried to make it.
Well, we could also talk to Trent Brown forever too. So
yes.
that means that the episode is awesome. So once again, thanks a lot, everybody, for tuning in tonight.
But what comes next is very important and very special.
Very special.
So definitely tune in for this. We have a special interview lined up for everybody. We were fortunate to talk with the Nervous family about the upcoming football Flagathon, 24-hour Flagathon. So we will cue this up so that you can see this great conversation. Check it out. If you can't hear it because of any reasons, please let us know in the chat. We may have to skip it, but we will definitely post it just in case if there's any issues with it. But yeah, check this out.
Just to let everybody know, this is an annual event, the football Flagathon in support of the Stollery. It's a very important event to us. Jace and the Nervous family, they do a fantastic job. They're trying to play football for 24 hours and see how much support they can get behind them while they do this. There's many teams that are involved in this. the community, encompasses it, and they have people come from all over to participate. If you want to come check it out, please do. That's June 13th that this event is going to be going down. We do have this interview.
Yeah, let's take a look. Let's play it here. Just bear with me.
All right, everybody. This is the Elks Herd here, speaking with Julia, Whitney, Ryan, and Jace. Nervous family, thank you so much for your time today. Very excited. We are over a week away, just over a week away from the 2025 football Flagathon in support of the Stollery Children's Hospital. You've hosted this event in 2024 and 2023. So I got to ask for viewers that haven't seen last year's interview on the Elks Call, Ryan, what exactly is the 24-hour football Flagathon?
So it's open to anyone and everyone. We have teams playing 1-hour games of 5 versus 5 flag football. So it's just played on quarter fields. We can have up to 4 games going at once. And teams go out there, have fun, no experience needed. And then they join our fundraising page and raise money for all your children's hospital. So there's prizes for top individual fundraiser, the top teams, things like that. There's castles, face painting, all kinds of fun all throughout the event as well. Play right through the night and everything. It's an absolute blast.
I remember that 24 hours nonstop, middle of the night, and if there's a more beautiful time to play football is when the lights are out and the only lights around you are the ones in the field. So I saw some of the footage and it was absolutely beautiful to see. So, but in 2025, you're experiencing an increased amount of support from Edmonton and the surrounding area. How much bigger has this event gotten?
Well, our sponsorship program has grown, I would say, 5 times at least. We've got 24 sponsors on board here now, whether it's financially or in-kind donations they've been giving us. So it's the support we've gotten just from the sponsor side has been phenomenal. We want to providing some pretty cool footballs for us to use over the night, some light up footballs for those nights. So those will be even more exciting.
Oh, that's cool.
24 sponsors. I think that's pretty crazy. And like you said, right, light up footballs in the middle of the night. It's Saturday night lights or maybe Sunday morning lights at that point, but something very exciting, and this is why we're excited about it as well. I mean, you don't see an event like this for football happen too often. We know about the world's longest game in hockey and many other sports, but football is something that is not celebrated as often as it should be. And then, it goes hand in hand with the Stollery. So the event is in support of the Stollery's Children's Hospital, as we know, and Jace has a Stollery story himself. Can you give us some insight on what the Stollery has done for the Nervous family?
He's not going to want to do that, so I'll kind of hold notes as much as we can. When I was pregnant, something was good. Didn't know what that was. It ended up being that he had a kidney that wasn't functioning properly. So when he was 3 years old, he had to have a kidney removed. And then we have just been on a steady incline and loops of a roller coaster ever since then of different issues that were happening. He's had to have both legs casted to lengthen his Achilles tendons. He has had recently, 5 weeks ago, he had his tonsils and adenoids taken out to see if some drainage in his adenoids would help any of the digestive issues that he's having now. Also, he's got a whole gamut of things that go on, but they are just always there every step of the way and giving him his childhood back as much as they possibly can.
Oh my goodness, yes, I couldn't imagine with, 2 boys ourselves. It's the work that they do for children. It's absolutely commendable, amazing, and I couldn't think of a better place to donate and make sure that they have all the support that they could for every single child out there that may need it.
Now, Whitney, I know that you've been a part of this, equal amount of time here. What can football fans expect when they approach Taurus Field in Fort Saskatchewan?
Oh, it is just there's so much energy and so much fun. The teams are just out there having a wonderful time. That aren't on the field at the time, or they're cheering each other on, taking in the other activities that are around the field. It's just a blast to watch. There's no explanation for any of it. And even when, the little guys don't get to stick around all night, where some of us have, and those nighttime games in the middle of the night those are pretty special because there's no rules anymore. It's just everything there having a good time, and that's what it's all. It's not to be serious. No, there's no winner, there's no loser. The winner in the end is the Stollery.
Of course, and that's what matters, right? Everybody gets to have fun. It's a new experience for those that haven't participated yet. A pretty cool experience as well, really. Who can say that they've been part of a 24-hour football game nonstop? And, on top of that, it's for a really, really good cause. So how can we donate to this great cause?
So right now, probably the best way is going to www.fortsaskfootball.com. In the top, a tab for the 24-hour Flagathon. And in there, it talks a little bit about the event. There's a link on registration, how to register. There's a link to, as well as kind of the Stollery stories that showcase our sponsors, everything. Everything's in there, as well as our email at the bottom of that to reach out to us. And they can connect with us on social media as well. Our Instagram account is quite active. And we're constantly sharing information on there as well.
And that's fortsaskfootball.com, right? Perfect.
Awesome.
So, yeah, everybody go check it out, fortsaskfootball.com. Go check out the stories. Please donate to this great cause. We'll also have the link in our description to today's episode. So just check out the description if you are watching YouTube. Now, we do have a couple questions for Jason Julia. Jace is a bit of a mastermind for this event, and you got to have a little bit of fun here, right? Mm-hmm. So, kiddos, please do answer loud so we can get it on here. I don't want to miss your answer. Let's start with Jace. What makes you most excited about the Flagathon?
Hanging out with friends and seeing family members and playing.
Football is great. Playing football anytime is great. Jules, what about you?
Playing football with family and my friends, and raising money and giving back to our community.
Love it.
I love it. That's cute. And okay, fun question. Who is your favorite player currently in the CFL? Who's yours, Jace?
AJ.
AJ Ouellette. Jules, do you have a favorite player?
Mine's the same.
Nice. Big AJ Ouellette fans over here. I can tell by Jace's awesome haircut. And then last question is, do you have a favorite all-time CFL player? Jace, we'll start with you.
Aaron.
Aaron Grimes, let's go.
Your BFF.
Yeah, teammates, let's go. And then Julia, what about you?
Probably Gino Lewis.
Gino, let's go.
He is one of the greatest. I can't blame you for that.
Awesome. All right, the 2025 football Flagathon in Fort Saskatchewan will be happening at Taurus Field on June 19th for a whopping 24 hours.
June 14th.
June 14th. 13th. June 13th.
It's the whole weekend.
It's 24 hours, okay? So June 13th for a whopping 24 hours. Be sure to check it out in person or donate online if you can. Once again, that's fortsaskfootball.com. It's a great time for a great cause, all in support of the Stollery. And we will be on location with an inside look at the 2025 football Flagathon. Nervous family, can't thank you enough for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and thank you for all the support with it as well. We really appreciate
Really appreciate you guys. Can't wait to get down there. Like we said, right, we're just over a week away, so we really can't wait to see how big this pie gets. So we'll see you down there. Can't wait to see you soon enough. So
Here you go.
once again, that was the football Flagathon. That was for the football Flagathon with the Nervous family. Jace, Ryan, Julia, and Whitney. Can't thank you guys enough for joining us for that interview. Once again, FortSaskFootball.com.
Yes. And people can still register. Keep that in mind. The link will be in the description of this video. And as well as the general donation link. I also have the QR code over here if you have a chance right now to give it a go. Jace's donation link will be in the description. This QR code is for the main donation page. Jace's team's goals is to raise $5,000 and they're sitting at $3,210. So make sure you go and support if you're able to. So just keep that in mind. Really good cause, and we really can't wait to see them here in a little bit. June 13th. It starts on the Friday for 24 hours.
Out of the two, I had the wrong one. June 14th is not the correct date. It's actually June 13th. So don't forget that. As well, another QR code we're looking to have up probably next week is for the CFL fans Fight Cancer in Winnipeg. Our good friends over at Rouge, White, and Blue are already actively promoting it quite a bit. With it being in Winnipeg, Joe Pritchard over at Rouge, White, and Blue and the Winnipeg Terminal, very excited to potentially see a Winnipeg return at home for a Grey Cup. So no matter what, CFL fans Fight Cancer, also a great cause. We're going to start plugging that one here soon. So keep an eye for this weekend and the weekend after. Once again, please do donate if you can to the football Flagathon. All right. Got a couple segments to go on this show.
It's a long show.
It's a long show, but we're having a great time. Fantastic. Also, thanks everybody for helping us debug once again. Definitely needed to know that. Just saw it in the herd chat again. Okay. Up next, we're going to bring you Green or Gold, our take on hot or not. Green or Gold is brought to you by the Stampeders Roundup. If you're a Stamps fan and you're listening to our show, you might as well buy an Elks jersey now. But if you're really dedicated to the Stamps, check out Jason's show on Shotgun Sports Network. We love Jason. We just don't love his team. That's,
yes.
That's the way that goes. Okay, so this is Green or Gold. This is our new segment. We're going to bring up a topic or item, and you're going to vote. You're going to vote green or you're going to vote gold. If you like it, it's gold. But if you're not in the loving it lane, your lane is green. So help us out with this one. And then we've got some loaded ones here today. Two biggest subjects, I think, right now for this team. First one is Loge seating in Upper Bowl. So there is a new Loge seating. And we're going to talk about this a little bit more on Edmonton Sports Talks, the Hangout tomorrow, the EST Hangout with Matthew Awanek. Maybe we see Gazzola. If you have a feeling Gazzola is going to be busy at Rogers Place. But we're going to talk about this maybe a little bit more in depth for now. We're going to give you the gist of it, and we're going to ask for the green or gold. So there is now Loge seating in Upper Bowl. And some fans are not overly thrilled about it. Some fans are. Now, the setup here is you go into the west side and you see these signs going to the Upper Bowl that say Loge number. You walk up and there's 6 tables. There's 6 tables. And then there's 4 tables, but 6 chairs. That's what it is. And then there's a canopy, there's a menu, there's in-seat service, There's a garbage can. All your amenities are all in one area. Green or gold, loge seating in the upper bowl. Feel free to give us a why on this as well, herd chat. John is already saying gold. Catherine, you were up in the loge seating. Is it green or is it gold?
It started as gold. And then after I heard what they're going to do with it, it turned green.
Whoa, loaded.
And see, here's the thing. It was, I've never been in the upper bowl. I've never seen a game in the upper bowl. So that was a very, very cool experience. Excuse me, what I thought was going to happen is that they were going to go around and get season ticket holders the opportunity to win the loge seating, right? So for me, this was a great initiative and a great incentive for people to buy season tickets, right? Because that could be another thing that you could win if you're a season ticket holder. How cool. I thought that that was a really good initiative. I thought that that would prompt more people to buy season tickets.
Right.
But then I learned that they're trying to sell them for a very high price as premium seating.
Right.
That's when it kind of turned me off a little bit. I'm not going to lie. For me, it seemed more as an initiative to incentivize season ticket holders. Now it's just a matter of who can afford it. Whoever can afford it can have those seats, essentially.
Right. So the estimated price tag on these, and this is hearsay. This does not come from the organization, so I cannot confirm. We cannot confirm. Don't be running around with this information because we don't know if it's 100% true. We usually only like to report on verified numbers and everything else, but a number has been thrown out. So let's talk about that. $15,000 for the season, $1,650 per game. You break it down per seat, that's around $300 each, whatever. So, I understand your point. I'm going to say green. The reason why, gold. I'm saying gold. I like them both. But gold. Gold is where I'm going with this one. And the reason why is because you need to make up for the fact that fans are no longer attending games like they used to. Now, there's other factors for that, and that's a completely different topic. But how do you make the money back now? You open up more premium seating. I can tell you right now, after over 10 years of being in Commonwealth Stadium on a semi-regular basis or very regular basis, that was the first time I had ever felt like a guest in Commonwealth Stadium. I have not felt like a guest in Commonwealth Stadium since my very first game. That could be because I feel like I'm at home all the time, which I really do. I really do. But I think that this is a good premium experience. I did the math. You could be making up anywhere, if you open this up on both sides, each side makes up for 3,000 fans plus. So if you sell out your loge seating, you're making up for, especially on both sides, over 6,000 fans that are not showing up are being accounted for in this premium seating.
I suppose, in a business sense, if you're talking business, smart move.
Yes.
Because like you say, it's a lot easier. And if there's something that we know about premium seating, even if it's not premium seating, but just with premium pricing, is that people will buy them if they really want to. Hence why the Oilers playoffs are packed, even though the price tickets are absolutely insane, because they will sell. But at the same time, it's like in many ways, we have heard time and time and again, the season ticket holders are not happy necessarily about the perks that they get. Right. And there's been, even with the whole patches and everything that just happened, you had more season ticket holders that weren't necessarily happy with some of the decisions. To me, that seemed like a perfect initiative to start kind of mending some of that some of those wrongs that a lot of season ticket holders feel. And
I can tell you that I like your idea. Now, I think you're right. I think that does incentivize, right? It builds up a loyalty. It builds up somebody wanting to keep their seats for more opportunities like that. Now, however, flip it around a bit. The Edmonton Elks also do a lot of season ticket holder only things. You know, such as even that tiered system. Like we somehow got screwed on the tiered system.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
But I understand it. I understand it because of business.
Well, but then that's just it. That's what I say.
Right.
On a business sense, sure, makes sense. Good for them. They'll sell. They'll get some money back. If I'm Larry, that's what I'm doing because I need to make money. In the people sense, I liked it better with what I thought was going to be versus what actually, if they actually go that way.
And
that's all it is.
We've heard our fair share of fan feedback on this. Some fans really like it. Some fans just want the upper deck open again so that they can get their view of
yeah.
You know,
it was a fantastic view. The seats themselves were amazing. Let me tell you that.
It was a blast.
It was a blast.
And do I think it's worth every dollar? I do actually. I you know, maybe once a year I'd be willing to do that. Now Section X is home. Section X, gate 13 for life. It was really, really hard being away from Section X. I'm not gonna lie. If it wasn't a preseason game, I don't know how I would feel about that. If it was a regular season and us going up there, just on the fan aspect alone, I loved being up there, but especially for a preseason game because I want to bring the noise down in Section X. X gonna give it to you every single time. You know, Chris Agar here, pricing like that is what turned me off of the hockey team here in town. So, and that's fair.
I mean, for that kind of pricing, I don't think I would.
But I think the Edmonton Elks also need to have the wins to back up that pricing.
Of course.
In my opinion, that is the biggest piece that's missing here. You can't just go ahead and, you know.
I mean, people will spend $700 on a ticket to go see the Oilers because they're in the playoffs.
You should see the finals price there.
Yeah, well, and I'm talking like upper bowl, like nosebleed kind of seats.
Right.
They're not going to be paying that kind of money right now to see the Elks as they are.
No, but maybe corporate sponsors will. And I think that's more so the target there, right? It could be. But, and do I agree with fans that are like, okay, well, you know, I used to have those seats and now they're kind of being used for a completely different purpose. Well, keep in mind, they're still trying to open the upper bowl on even a regular basis. They want to get it back open. This is a means of making up the money now.
Yeah.
Right. So I get it from a business sense. I get it from the fan sense too. It's still a gold for me. I think that this is a smart move.
What's a green and gold put together? Orange.
What are you trying to do here? You're looking for a middle ground. It'd be the white stripe. Yes. Middle of the road would be the white. See what we did there?
Okay.
Well, we're talking about now these new uniforms.
Yes.
Right. What has these nice stripes on them? The new uniforms. So the Edmonton Elks today released new jerseys, very nice 1990s inspired jersey. It's got the gold, it's got the white outline on the numbers, something like Trent Brown would have wore, by the way. Trent Brown would have wore something like this. Very nice looking throwback jersey. We've already ordered ours.
Yes.
Shout out to the Edmonton Elks and Christine and the team store staff for being there today at Midway.
So that should tell you enough about what we think.
That's the way that we see it, but this is green or gold. This is green or gold. So we have to pick a lane here. And before I lose this thought, we'll get to Chris Agar's comment here before we exit this segment. But green or gold, Catherine? New Jersey is green or gold? I'm
going to say gold. I like them. I mean, I bought them. I spent money on them, so I might as well. I better like them.
Can't hate it now.
Can't hate it now. I do think they look a little too similar to the ones that they had. What do you call it?
Well, the
signature?
It wasn't the signature. It was the team jersey from like 2018, 2019.
Yeah, very, very similar. Very similar.
If anything, it's a little bit more similar to, like, let's say the 2013 jerseys.
Yeah.
2014 jerseys in there.
Yeah, the one that I got at Uncle Wiener's for $20.
That was the 2018 version.
Yeah, they look very, very similar to that. So I mean, I did hope that it was gonna have a little bit. I mean, obviously the classic look is there, but maybe just a little bit more different. I still like it though.
Now there are fan complaints out there, or fan criticisms. Sorry, don't call it complaints. Let's call it criticisms. It's constructive feedback, right? Yeah, some people are saying that they look cheap. Some people actually do not like these. This is interesting. Did not think that we would see that kind of reaction out of some. We do have John Kirby here. Green, I don't like the white. The white jerseys, he is not a big fan of. Thank you.
Actually, yes. I think the white looks exactly the same as our away jersey.
Well, yeah,
that's too.
Yeah,
like exactly the same. Like there's not much of a difference. So I personally wouldn't buy the white one either. So maybe the white is not. It's a little green for me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we could even break that up right into away and home jerseys.
Yeah, the home I like. The away I wasn't a fan either.
Chris Agar here loves the new jersey. He's seeing a gold. I am going to say a gold for both. I just miss that look in general. I think it's a very good look. That's the look that I kind of was used to watching on the turf when I came in as an Esks fan back in the day. So I personally really, really like these. I can see where fans are not the biggest fan, and it is the white jersey that's actually taking the most heat right now. The white jersey is the one that's taking the most heat. And you are right, it does actually look rather similar.
Very, very, very similar.
But you know what? I like the Edmonton. I like the Edmonton on the jersey. You can see where they're kind of moving away from that Elks branding a little bit more. The big double E in the stripes, I like that classic look. That's once again something we haven't seen since the 2013 jerseys, 2014 in there.
Steve over here, he says, I like the jerseys, but find the non-solid numbers very hard to see from the stands.
And they recycled, I can tell you right now, they recycled those icon jersey numbers for the away jersey. They did, because it has the gold and it's the green. So I can see what Steve's getting at for sure. Non-solid. I do like the white around the gold, but it does get a little bit hard to see from the stands. So, and I've already screwed up on numbers and players enough as it is. So
I'll tell you what, the view from up high was a lot easier to see numbers.
that's why low seating is a goal. But yeah, no, very exciting. I think anytime you get new uniforms, you're very thrilled about it. You know, that's the same aesthetic there with the double E's is what we're going to see on that away jersey. That's kind of, you know, what you're going to see there. And then, you know, of course, the names are actually in solid. So that's good. The names are in solid gold or in solid green. So that's something that will be a little bit easier on the eyes. It's going to be the numbers that you may have.
It's not like that one. That's really hard to see.
Feel bad for Morley and Dave Campbell having to call those numbers all the time. Shout out to those guys. They were also there at the event as well.
Yes, they were.
We saw Matt O'Donnell. We saw quite a few people there. So yeah, I mean, it was a great event. Good job to the Edmonton Elks for pulling that one off. And thank you everybody for participating in another lovely edition of Green or Gold. We're gonna move right on to the final segment of the night.
I am sleepy.
Kathy is a sleepy girl, sleepy. All right, it is our final segment. You know what we're bringing up. You know where we're going with this. It is the Fan Forum. So the Fan Forum is brought to you by the Argos Fancast. Join Clay, Will, and Sir Doug as they give you the latest from Argos land every week, right here on Shotgun Sports Network. Let's go. Let's go. In this segment, we're going to talk about the hottest topics surrounding the Edmonton Elks. The hottest topics surrounding the Edmonton Elks and the CFL as a whole. Herd chat, blow it up, and get your comments and questions onto the show. That's what just caught me off guard there. It was a good comment. So thank you, Herd chat. You're doing it. New for this season, if you do have a question, and this show is actually running a little bit long. So we might just keep it to one fan forum question tonight.
We only have the one fan forum.
We only have the one fan forum question. Generally, though, we do take in a fan question. I think I will take in one fan question tonight because it does pertain to the new concession items. So we'll talk about that after question number one. But Herd chat, get in on this. Have this conversation with us. We're all fans together in this. Let's do it. So question number one, the Edmonton Elks are starting their season in BC for the third or fourth season in as many years. I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of getting sick of watching the BC Lions versus Edmonton Elks in BC every year to start this season. while it is special for the players and fans to watch a concert, BC always seems to bring out big names to start the season off right. So let's say the Double E makes some money here. Let's say the team is a little bit more winning. Should the Double E consider doing this next season?
Yeah. Yeah, if they're making money, why not? That would bring more people to the stands. Who doesn't like a good concert? It's entertainment.
Yeah.
I personally don't see the negative of it, except, the money.
Well,
but as long as you can afford it, then you should.
It costs money, right? And so it takes money. You got to spend money to make money. Doman, somebody last year, one of the players said it best: "Scared money don't make money."
Yeah, but I mean, even think about the what was it? Who was it? Hanson. I was gonna say Manson.
Hanson, Bob?
Not Manson. Marilyn Manson. I would go see that personally.
You would.
But Hanson, you did get a whole bunch of people that were just showing up just to go see them.
Yeah, like
right? So it doesn't have to be a massive name.
Well, one of our friends, Kyle, who's actually a tailgater beside us now, him and I went to that game.
Yeah.
You couldn't go, and it was right after COVID, and he's like, "Yeah, the return of live music in Edmonton. It's Hanson. I'm gonna mbop all night. I've never mbop like this before." It's fantastic, right? It was great.
Mbop all night.
But the Edmonton Elks could use another halftime concert, and we've talked about this before on the show, right? So I mean, we're not going to beat this dead horse, but I would like to see the Edmonton Elks pull that off next year.
Yeah, I mean, once again, it takes money. If you can afford it, you should. That's what I like to say. It doesn't have to be a big name, but just something to get people excited.
Scared money don't make money. And then, getting into the second piece here, and we're going to talk about our current stadium upgrade. We have better items in the concessions. We have better fan items. The Loud Cup is now graced its presence,
John
gracing
here.
us with its presence in Commonwealth.
Yeah.
Skill Catherine can join you now with blowing a horn. She has a Loud Cup.
Listen, it's really difficult to blow.
Apparently.
It was making me very lightheaded, so I don't know if I would be doing it very often. But still cool though.
And like how do you think that this is the right move? Like, should the Edmonton Elks be bringing in more of the football helmets, more of the grub tubs, more of these special concession items?
Yes. Oh, I forgot about the lunch boxes that somebody had mentioned. I really want to go take a look at those and get some for the boys or myself. But yes,
I want the food football helmet. I know it's going to cost quite a bit.
Oh my gosh, like even that. See, here's the thing: we have Loud Cups at home. We have a few to give away, and I have my own personal Loud Cup here at home. And then John came over and he bought a Loud Cup, and I was like, I need to go get a Loud Cup. So that's how consumerism works, people. Come up with something cool, and chances are people are going to buy it, right? So all of those things, the lunch boxes, the helmets, the Loud Cups,
the grub tub,
and the grub tubs, whatever it is, people will buy them. I went to go get them. I went to the store on the west side, and it was packed.
Yeah.
People were buying so much merchandise. I just personally don't see a negative with adding a whole bunch of those little things so you can keep as mementos after a game or for the kids or whatever it may be.
Well, in her chat, let us know what you think as well. What are you most excited about? What did you like the most? John Kirby here talking about the lunchbox, but I think the Loud Cup, that was sweet. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, hey, let me blow into it. That was a blast. It's nice to have these options at least. And going back to what Trent Brown was talking about, make this a better experience. Make this a fun experience. Improve the game day experience somehow, some way. And winning is 80%, 70% of that, a massive percentage of it, right?
Live music to your home opener? Why not?
Well, exactly. That's one of those things. Now, even getting back to that, 50% of those fans may leave BC Play, right, after the concert. But at least you expose these people to your product. Yeah. You got a foot in the door. Next time somebody asks them if they want to go to a BC Lions game, hey, maybe they say yes. Even though there's no Snoop Dogg, no 50 Cent, none of these other big names. But, Amar Doman, he's spending that money. Who knows about their concession items and everything else.
And they're sold out.
they're going to sell out for this. A sellout is a sellout of 50,000. That still helps your attendance. The last big one besides the Labor Day rematch we recently had was the Stand for Ukraine game, and in preseason we had 30,000 people show up, and it was one of the bigger attendances we've seen in the building.
Yeah.
But
no, bring Celine Dion.
And I like Steve here in the herd chat 100%. But about the question, what era of music do you go with?
Celine Dion.
No, you go. I guess you could.
She applies to every era.
But you could go 90s, 2000s, right? 2000s is always good, but you also have to take a look at your demographic and who you're trying to get into the stadium as well. You want more kids in the stadium. You want more younger people in the stadium.
Take a look at the Super Bowl and at halftime with Kendrick Lamar. Oh my goodness, I don't even know his name. But that's just it, right? Is who are you trying to attract as well? So you're going to have that group of people that are like, oh, who the hell is this guy? Yeah. And then you're gonna have a group of people that are gonna be like, oh, cool, let's go check this out.
And you got to bridge that gap there, right? Exactly. So like a 2010s is probably gonna be the best thing that you can, the best type of act you can bring in. But it's those little things, and I love using BC as the example because they're being some of the biggest innovators in the CFL. Private ownership, very similar scenario to what the Edmonton Elks are going through. Comment Donny Osmond for the old people, Kids Bop for the young generation, Eminem for the middle crowd.
Eminem for everybody.
If Eminem shows up, that Commonwealth Stadium is sold out.
My kids love it. Well, our kids, Aiden, the 7-year-old, he likes Eminem, even though it's questionable.
we try to operate and play the censored versions as much as possible, but
very hard to sometimes.
Sometimes it's Eminem, man. Like, what are you gonna do? And then of course you got to watch your mouth as a parent, and just snowball from there.
Brutal.
All right.
We did have that one question that you wanted to talk about just before we close this off. From Chris Agar,
yes, if
the food is better than the current concessions, then loge seating might be worth it. Just bringing it back to that conversation of loge seating and what changes have been going on in the current concessions.
Now, I hate to disappoint you here, Chris, but it was hot dogs and hamburgers. So
one thing that I didn't ask, because the menu that they give you is absolutely horrible. I mean, the drinks are fine because you can get those, they're the same, but the food was just, the options were just horrendous.
Well, it was the same stuff that you could get in the concourses,
even
less.
Right? You had like 3 options. You had like popcorn, hot dogs, and like Twizzlers or something like that. But my question that I didn't get to ask is, could you go to the concourse, get food, and then bring it up?
Right.
Then I'm not sure. I mean, it's a couple of extra steps, but really, if you're able to go grab your own food, then no big deal. But yeah.
So in that, and I'll tell everybody right now. I'll say this. This is Herdy's final thought. The low seating definitely needs work. It's not quite at like the same standards of say Rogers Place, where the low seating is definitely premium. It's exclusive, exclusive menu items. They have a whole buffet up there. All this other stuff.
I know.
We know we're not going to quite get that, right? But should there be maybe some elevated options on the menu? I do agree. They have the in-seat service, so that's huge. But then, you also need to up the value as well. Somebody sitting in those seats needs to feel the extreme value, right? And
if they're going for those prices and that's what you're paying,
hot dogs and hamburgers probably aren't going to do it.
No, not even hamburgers. It was just hot dogs and popcorn.
Oh, hot dogs and popcorn. It's even
so definitely. Yes, I agree. If you're going to be paying for premium seating, you better be getting a premium experience.
No, I agree with that. So hopefully they elevate that a little bit. And then John, let's open up John's the comment here last. I just don't like the chain. You have to keep on hooking and rehooking in the lows. We do have to remember that this was a very, very beginner stage for this load.
Yes, 100%.
Like this is completely prototype. Like the menu, like I think I believe the inside intel on that was, it took a couple weeks just to get it together. is an idea that has come out very recently, like this year. So this is something that has just kind of come up at the drop of a dime.
It's a work in progress.
Work in progress. They will be elevating it, mark my words. But if you ever get the opportunity to check out Loge, to get to go up there, and I'll say, as somebody that has not been up to the Upper Bowl very often, used to buy Upper Bowl seats back in like 2013, 2014, 2015. It's a vibe. It's an experience. It's a fantastic time, and especially with that Loge, having the seats and the table and everything else, feel like a guest in the building. You get a premium experience. They just need to put a little bit of polish on this Loge project, and I think that fans will really like it. So same thing, like with the whole chain thing. Maybe there's a staff member there that's hooking it, unhooking it. Maybe they figure out a better system for that. But I think they will get there.
It'll get better.
Oh yeah, it'll definitely get better. All right, we're gonna close that fan forum. And like that, we are at the end of the Elks Call. Special 2-hour episode tonight because we are back in regular season CFL football times. It's always great to be back in the regular season. Elks win this weekend. Let's get a win by at least 3 points. Maybe not one this time, but let's get a 3-point lead at least. It'd be nice. Get a couple touchdowns. Trey Ford, let those wings fly. And that's it for us tonight. So we got to thank you, the viewer, the listener, anybody that is tuning into our show right now, whether you are on YouTube or on Facebook at the Elks Herd or Shotgun Sports Network, which is where we are almost exclusively. Could be listening to the replay on Edmonton Sports Talk, but with a game tomorrow night, a big Oilers game, a big game 2 in the Stanley Cup Finals. Final.
Blame you.
Yeah, we might be getting bumped a little bit, and that's okay. So Edmonton
okay.
Sports Talk, thanks again to you guys for rolling with the herd as well. Yeah, if you like tonight's show, give us a like, give us a subscribe, a follow, a little bit of love, all that. Shout out to the herd chat tonight. You guys were fantastic, guys and gals, everybody in between. We always have fun doing this. We do it for the fans, from the fans. So got a lot covered. And we're going to catch everybody next time after the Edmonton Elks beat the BC Lions. Knock on wood. But until then, my name is Scout Natick, a.k.a. the rep from Section X.
And I'm Catherine, a.k.a. Steven Elks.
This was the Elks Call. We are the Elks Herd, and we can't wait to see you all again on the next episode. Cheers, everybody. Have a great one.
Have a good night.